I have some struggles because
All right, please.
I joined a team for the first time, like
Nice,
a
congratulations.
scrim team. Yep.
Yeah,
We're doing open division stuff like that. So
right on.
two people I know from the past, way back when I was on like in Diamond, we played together. But now, like half the team is people I have no clue who they are,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And just I like the team. Like I like so first off, makes that sure. Like everyone's super nice. It's that, but I've developed some issues because for me, never playing really team and just focusing on ranked, I've developed some things that are biting me in the butt now. So one of them is I'm very insecure about my play with
Yeah,
teammates,
yeah,
and
yeah.
from ranked, I've developed a really good tool where like I look at my teammate, okay, everyone in the lobby is just like it's like I'm playing a single player game. Like I don't like if I have a bad game, I
Right,
don't really care.
right.
Like I'm not like going to throw on purpose, obviously, but
No, I got you.
like if I go like whatever, like 5-7 and I have a bad stat line, I'm like whatever, like it happens, right? But then especially me being like everyone on the team is like top 300, like higher ranked than
Mm-hmm.
me, and it feels like all right, I put up a bad performance. It's like nobody says anything, but you kind of I still kind of get in my own head about it, and it kind of screws me over for the rest of the whatever if we're
Right,
playing.
right, right, right. It's the downward spiral, right?
Yeah.
Right, I got you. Hmm. Let me think about this for a second, because there is a lot more expectation placed on you, right?
Yeah.
Social expectation. So like you end up in these situations where you feel like almost guilty not playing to your best, right? Um,
Right.
I think everybody should aspire to be the teammate that just doesn't let it bother them when they play well, and doesn't let it bother them when other teammates don't play well either.
Yeah.
Um, so as long as you're the type of person that doesn't flame your teammates when they screw up, they're less
Hmm.
likely to get irritated at you for being a hypocrite, right?
Right.
Seem like the type of person that probably isn't gonna flame anybody anyway. So you're probably good to go with that. Um, Let me think.
Also, the voice chat aspect of it is a big thing because I never really joined voice. So if I like screw up in feed, like again, I don't get flamed in my team, but you can kind of feel like, okay, everyone reset. Let's whatever, not big. And then
Yeah.
where like I can kind of like into peace in my head, like I can screw up and like I can be upset with myself, but I'm not gonna hear it from someone else. Especially in unranked, I'll get flamed, right?
Right.
But in this, I don't like. I get
You
like
actually care about these
getting
people a
better.
little bit.
Right? Yeah.
Right. I got you. I got you. Um. Okay. Okay. So, why in ranked do you never focus on what other people say? Why is it? Why is it something that you blow off? Whatever GG, Daddy Kisser 334.
Yeah.
Why do you ignore what they say?
Because I thought about this as well, and it's like me improving from where I was at one point to where I am. I now know I can improve,
Right.
like being it better. So like I've trusted myself that I will surpass anyone who sits there and flames people. And like if you get upset at me now, I might be terrible now. Like yesterday with 2-10, I was playing pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
I know in a month I'll be better. I've trusted myself there. Um, so in myself is not the issue. It's like it's as well because I know Daddy Kisser 420 in rank doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really care about getting like he doesn't care about the game really. Like if
Right.
you're sitting there flaming teammates, you care, but you don't like you're kind of
Oh,
you're
here's a
unhelpful.
hot take. You ready for this one? Even
Yeah.
if Daddy Kisser 420 cares about the game, the best thing that you could do for Daddy Kisser 420 is to ignore him. There's the irony.
Right.
Because if you pay attention to him, then you end up trolling the lobby, right? And then you really confirm, and then he gets really upset, right? So the reason why you don't join voice with Daddy Kisser 420 is because you want to give Daddy Kisser 420 your best performance, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is if you think about it, right? You're trying to play your best. Why? Well, because I want to improve, but also I want to make sure that I'm trying to help my teammates out, right?
Right. Right.
So you're being the sweet, sympathetic soul, and you didn't even realize it. And that matters in a team environment too, right? Because you want to give your best performance, right?
Right.
So you still should try to not care about what your teammates think, at least in terms of your performance.
Hmm.
Why? Because you're trying to continue to give your best performance. You're trying to continue to improve, right?
Right.
So that's the irony there. The only reason that you're in voice with your teammates now is why? Because so they can flame you? So they can express their disappointment with you?
Yeah.
No, it's
Communicate.
it's so that you need to communicate and coordinate your combat. But there's nothing about that. If you're legitimately always trying to improve, you don't need to hear them flaming you with well, they're not, but you wouldn't need to hear their disappointment in their voice as motivation for you to improve. At least you shouldn't anyway, right? Um,
Right.
I can relate with this one as well because I do a lot of flag football tournaments and I was playing a position I was
Yeah.
unfamiliar with. And
It's not mean sports.
yeah,
That's like sports,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And these guys, respectfully, don't really know the proper way to compete. And
Right.
so there's one guy in particular who thinks he knows everything about everything. Beth John. And my wife is sitting here and she knows. And so like it's like constant 100-0. Wait, what are you doing this? You need to be doing this. You got to get your head out. You need to be doing this. Like literally in the middle of
Yeah.
a game, an important tournament game we're traveling to. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I legitimately have to tune you out for me to be able to actually give you what you want. And that's obviously the negative side of things, but like there's a lot of pressure to like
Yeah.
do your best, to perform up to snuff and like you to do what you think, but you just are gonna have to live with failure. You know what I'm saying? Sometime you're gonna have to
Yeah.
live with failure and just continue to trust the process. So for me, I actually really don't think anything changes. I just think it gets harder to do the same thing that you're doing in rank before, right?
Right.
We could be having this conversation about why it's important to not care about what your ranked teammates think. Nowadays, you're like, well, duh, obviously I don't care what my ranked teammates think, right? That's because you've been practicing that mindset. You now need to care about that mindset with your teammates. Now,
Yeah.
here's a question for you. When do you need to be a considerate, caring person about what your teammates think? When? About what?
Um. I guess mindset towards the game.
Sure.
Like, uh, again, some of my teammates. But I guess it matters to me. Like in my gameplay, where it's, I guess like this is the obviously like I'm using my ult and I
Mm-hmm.
care that they play around it.
Sure. Sure. How about this? Somebody comes up to you and says, you don't communicate near enough in game. Like, we have a really hard time hearing you,
Right.
right? What's the difference
Yeah.
between that and Daddy Kisser 420 flaming you?
Because they actually want the best out of me, where Daddy Kiss is just looking for a excuse to
Well,
why
maybe,
he's
maybe, maybe, maybe. I think again, you're assuming it's not so much the intentions. Like, let me put it this way: intentions are the sweetener, right? They make it easier to swallow what's being said because you know the intentions behind the person, right?
right.
Like, I can sit here and I could flame you, and you'd be like, haha, it's fine, right? Because you know me, right? You know my
Yeah.
intentions with you. But I could say the exact same things to you, but I saying out of Daddy Kisser 420's voice, and you would throw it to the side. You'd disregard it. Why?
'Cause I don't respect Daddy
Because you don't
Kisser. Like,
respect the
yeah.
intentions, right? So intentions, actually, if we were AI, we wouldn't care about intentions, right? So you're
Yeah.
sitting here and you're focusing on the intentions, and that's something that we as humans tend to do, but it's actually not about the intentions, it's about the actual quality that's of what's being said. So let me go back to my question earlier. When somebody's asking you to communicate better or whatever like that, okay? Obviously you would trust the intentions of that person, but actually, what's the important thing about what's being said? What's being said? Is he flaming you when he's asking you to communicate more?
Yeah, he is, but I respect him and I know the
Well,
intentions
kind
are.
of. I don't like what's flaming. What's flaming?
I guess just No, I guess it's not because inflaming, in my
James
opinion,
Bond
is like
007, you suck,
insulting.
trash. This is terrible. Look at this matchmaking. What a
Yeah,
bunch of
there's nothing.
right. There's
You're not
nothing.
improving from it.
There's no tangible. There's no feedback
Right.
there,
It's not
right?
criticism.
So
Yeah.
there's two F words we got to worry about, right? Flaming versus feedback, right?
Yep.
Flaming versus feedback. The funny thing is a lot of people disregard feedback from low-hanging sources, but that doesn't change the fact that it may or may not be useful, right? If Daddy Quister 420 is giving you feedback, but you hate, but saying it really rudely, it doesn't necessarily mean what he is saying is wrong.
Best advice comes from the worst places.
Right. The reason why we tend to listen to our teammates more with stuff like that, though, is because their intentions usually mean what they say is feedback and not flaming. So therefore, we should listen.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean. So we should always look at the intentions of what's being said. And the reason why that's important is that helps you to decipher what your teammates are saying that you should be helpful and should be focusing on and giving attention to, and what that they're not. If you say, all right, guys, reset, right? That's not feedback, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily flaming either. It's hard to not be emotional in a game like this, but it's, disregard it, let it go. But if they go, hey, we need you to communicate better. I think your angles are too wide. I think you need to be synchronizing this, or I think you need to be practicing your tracer mechanics a little bit here. That's feedback. It may not always be correct, but it's worth giving a second thought. It's worth thinking about, right? These flag football tournaments, right? The reason why I ended up tuning this guy out is even though he was trying to give feedback, it was mostly flaming, and it was so much feedback, 7 different things every 5 minutes, that I knew that I'm not going to be able to process all of this, and I'm not even sure that he's necessarily right either. So I'm going to try and tune him out and select things that I know that are fair or good points and focus on those, right? And that's going to be your skill, and it's going to be a lot harder because actually the intentions of your teammates matter more to you, so therefore it's harder to swallow or disregard things that aren't feedback. It's harder to it hurts you more, right? But that's just going to be a skill you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to get used to disappointing people. I know that sounds like really harsh, but you're just going to have, that's life, right? We don't always live up to people's expectations. So you do the best that you can, and then also try and make sure that you are never making people feel upset. Try and assume the best about your teammates, right? Your teammate screws up, don't be that guy. I don't think you are, but don't be that guy. Because as you can tell right now, being that guy is really disheartening and really discouraging for that player, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. It's hard because there's no shortcut,
Yeah. It's just nothing easy about it.
There's nothing easy about it. But that does give you kind of a priority about what you should be tuning yourself into and what you can kind of tune out. Because even good teammates are just not perfect. They just aren't.
Right.
So sometimes even your best bud, you're just gonna have to be like, all right, he's a little upset at me right now. It's okay, right? It's all right. Okay.
One more. It's a easier problem to fix. So
okay.
The whole thing with synergy and dueling with teammates, I don't really believe that to be true. Just playing with people makes them better. What's your opinion on?
Well, you break it down what you think, elaborate, and why you think that way. Because I believe it was Gunba on a Yiska interview recently said something similar. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
I think dueling is pretty harmful.
Okay.
For the obvious SR reasons, where if someone's worse and you kind of split the SR, does that? But then the bigger reasons for me is it changes the way you solo queue and ranked is the training grounds. And if I'm dealing with someone, I'm gonna start playing differently. And this is my issue with scrims. Why I didn't join originally was because if I start playing and making decisions based off what other people calm, or I start playing towards my my Winston dives in, right? And I think I'm playing Tracer. Okay, we're dueling. I need to dive in with him, right? Maybe the optimal play is not, and it's tough mentally to get around that and actually make the optimal play and make a decision that you would have made if you're a solo individual.
Sure.
Because if I was all right, this is a bad play to dive with the monkey, but I'm just gonna do it because we're dueling, right? And I go into review that, I'm not learning anything because I wouldn't have done that in the first place if I was actually thinking about it. I'm getting influenced where I can't really take much away from that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but if your Winston and rank dives in too, you're probably gonna want to do something too, right? Like maybe not act the same way, maybe not go in as aggressively, but you're still gonna follow up, right?
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's yeah. I still do that and rank and stuff, but am I gonna build a better synergy doing with my tank or my support or whatever? I hear people like say that. I don't quite believe like
I think it's like, let me put it this way. To me, I look at that as like the Kovacs of synergy, where it's like a low hanging fruit, but it doesn't really benefit you much once you kind of get comfortable playing with that person. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like once you're already
yeah,
at a certain level, it's like, okay, it doesn't really do much. Like if you're not used to working with this player the way that they play, or you're just building a little bit of like, it's like, hey, it's fun to play ranked with this person, right? That's another benefit, right? But I agree with you. I think it's maybe a low hanging fruit, but it's not going to take your game to like another level.
yeah.
My
Like,
thoughts
that
with
was
synergy. What is it?
that was fuel learned like 5 seconds back later.
Right, exactly. My thoughts with synergy is I actually think it's a lot like deliberate practice, where like people are like, oh, we spent thousands of hours together, but we're still not on the same page. It's like these 1,000 hours mercy mains, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who are still in gold. I think it's about quantity, not quality. So when you're in scrims, you should be giving it like literally everything you've got to work with these guys and coordinate with these guys. And then if you could then go into ranked afterwards and spend more time, maybe it's not that beneficial anymore, right? And I think you see this sometimes with these teams that have played together for years but still aren't that good and still aren't that coordinated. It just doesn't matter how many hours if you just don't listen to each other. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of players in GM and top 500 and scrims and OD and Overwatch League are just not good listeners. And it doesn't how many scrims that they spend together, they're still not going to work together well. So I'm with you a little bit on that one. I'm with Gunba on that one, because I think a lot of teams don't really put the effort that they need to really make that next barrier. Like I cannot tell you, like with London this past season, how many times we talked about listening and how many times we made an entire focal point, and you guys have to be working together here. This is like it was our focal point, and it still wasn't perfect. So I don't know. I agree with you. I agree with you. The priority has to be on working with your team in scrims. I would consider doing with something in ranked if it's somebody I don't really know that well and I want to kind of understand them or the way they play, or just get to know them a little bit better just for fun. Right. But if you've already kind of knocked that out, then it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like you see the Toronto Defiant guys doing on ranked, but you know why they're doing in ranked, right?
Yeah, they're buddies, right?
Yeah, it's just fun. You know, there's no like synergy benefit there.